Good morning, everyone. Today we are starting with chapter 4 of class 11 physical geography. The lesson name is distribution of oceans and continents. So in this chapter, we'll learn about different types of theories that are in support of uh, uh, explaining the distribution of ocean and continents. So we'll mostly cover the important topics or important facts that are essential to clear CDS. So we'll go accordingly. First of all, as you see the highlighted area, you know that continents cover 29% of the surface of the earth, and the remainder is under oceanic waters. The positions of the continents and the ocean bodies as we see them in the map haven't been the same in the past. What I am telling, if you see this map, as you see, this is the current spacing of the continents around the world, but it hasn't been the same since before it was, because before it was like a giant marshland called Pangaea, surrounded by Panthalassa, the oceanic water. So we'll learn about that. If we see the continental drift theory, observe the shape of the coastline of Atlantic Ocean. You will be surprised by the symmetry of the coastlines on either side of the ocean. No wonder many scientists thought of the similarity and considered the possibility of two Americas, Europe and Africa, to be once joined together. Here, if you see, the shape, the North America and the South America and the Europe and Africa, if you try to fit them together, it would be almost a perfect fit. So it is told that these continents would have been joined together once in a time before they broke up. This is what is being told in the continental drift theory. Next, from the known records of the history of science, it was Abraham Ortelius, a Dutch map maker, who first proposed such a possibility as early as 1596. So in 1596, Abraham Ortelius proposed that the two Americas, Europe and Africa, could have been joined together. However, it was Alfred Wegener, a German meteorologist, who put forth a comprehensive argument in the form of continental drift theory. So, who gave continental drift theory? Alfred Wegener in 1912. According to Wegener, all the continents formed a single continental mass and a mega ocean surrounded the same. The single continent mass is called Pangaea, which meant all the earth, and the mega ocean was called Panthalassa, meaning all water. So, according to the Wegener, there were all the continents formed a single continental mass called Pangaea, and the Pangaea was surrounded by the water called Panthalassa, which is a mega ocean. He said after that, around 200 million years ago, the supercontinent Pangaea began to split. So around when the Pangaea and Panthalassa were there around 200 million years ago, the Pangaea began to split. Pangaea first broke into two large continental masses. So the Pangaea split into Laurasia and Gondwana land. Laurasia and Gondwana forming Laurasia is the northern component, and the Gondwana land is the southern component. Subsequently, Laurasia and Gondwana land continued to break into various smaller continents that exist today. So, the first split was Laurasia and Gondwana, and it has been subsequently being split to form the existing continents as we have today. A variety of evidence was offered in support of the continental drift theory. Now we'll see the different. Now we see different evidences or different proofs that can support the continental drift theory. First one is the matching of continents, as we have seen earlier, the jigsaw fit of the Americas with Europe and South Africa. It may be noted that the map produced using a computer program to find the best fit of the Atlantic margin was presented by Bullard in 1964. So in 1964, Bullard made a map producing the matching of continents. It proved to be quite perfect. The match was tried at 1000 fathom line instead of the present shoreline. The next one is rocks of same age across the ocean. How do we predict the ages of rocks? By carbon dating. So there are various methods, and one of the most efficient used methods is carbon 14 dating. So here, the radiometric dating methods developed in the recent period have facilitated correlating the rock formation from different continents across the vast ocean. The belt of ancient rocks of 2000 million years from Brazil coast matches with those from Western Africa. So if we see the map here, here it is Brazil, and here we have Western Africa. And it is saying here that the belt of the rocks along the Brazil coast matches with those from Western Africa, which are told to be around 2000 million years. So, as the continental theory says, around 200 million years ago, the Pangea began to split. So, we can assume that around 200 million years ago, it was a single uh, land before it began to split around 200 million years ago. The earliest marine deposits along the coastline of South America and Africa are of the Jurassic age. So the marine deposits are not only the ancient rocks along the coast, but the marine deposits also along the coast of South America and Africa are of the Jurassic age. This suggests that the ocean did not exist prior to that time. Okay. Next, tillite. What is a tillite? Tillite is a sedimentary rock formed out of deposits of glaciers. So, a tillite is one of the types of sedimentary rocks. The Gondwana system of sediments from India is known to have its counterparts in 6 different land masses of the southern hemisphere. So, it is being told here that the sediments that are found in India also have the same traces in another 6 different land masses of southern hemisphere. At the base, the system has thick light indicating extensive and prolonged glaciation. The counterparts where these traces have been found are Africa, Falkland Island, which is in the southern ocean of southern Africa, around here, if you see here. Next, next is Madagascar, which is in Indian Ocean, Antarctica, and Australia. So these are the 6 different land masses where we can find the traces of tillite, which is being found in India also. Overall resemblance of the Gondwana type sediments clearly demonstrate that these land masses had remarkably similar histories. The glacial tillite provides ambiguous evidence of paleoclimates and also of drifting of continents. Next, placer deposits. What are placer deposits? The occurrence of rich placer deposits of gold in the Ghana coast and the absolute absence of the source rock in the region is an amazing fact, because we have placer deposits in the Ghana coast, but there is no source rock from which the placer deposit has to come. So this parent rock is found in Brazil. We'll see here. The gold-bearing veins are in Brazil, and it is obvious that the gold deposits of the Ghana are derived from Brazil plateau when the two continents lay side by side. So another evidence is placer deposits. Next, we'll see distribution of fossils. Next, distribution of fossils. When identical species of plants and animals adapted to living on land or in fresh water are found on either side of the marine barriers, a problem arises regarding accounting for such distribution. The observations that lemurs occur in India, lemurs is some kind of living organism, occur in India, Madagascar, Africa, led some to consider a contiguous landmass, Lumeria, linking these 3 landmasses. Mysosaurus was a small reptile adapted to shallow brackish water. The skeletons of these are found only in 2 localities. One is the southern Cape province of South Africa and Iroquois formations of Brazil. So this evidence is also telling us that once the South America and Africa are together, because a small reptile called Mesosaurus, which is adapted to shallow brackish water, its skeletons are found in only 2 localities. One it is in Africa, one it is in Brazil. But currently, the 2 localities are presently 4,800 kilometers apart with an ocean in between them. So, what conclusion can we draw from this? That there could have been a possibility that these 2 landmasses were one together before the Pangea began to split. So, this is one of the evidences that support continental drift theory. Next, we'll have an overview of all the evidences of continental drift theory. One is the matching of continents. Second is the rocks of same age across the oceans. Third is the tillite. Fourth is the placer deposits. And fifth is the distribution of fossils. Now we'll learn how the Pangea, the single landmass, began to drift. Now we'll see the forces for the drifting of the mass. Wegener suggested that the moment responsible for the drifting of continents was caused by pole fleeing force and tidal force. So, what are the two forces for drifting of continents that Wegener mentioned? Pole fleeing force and tidal force. What is pole fleeing force? The pole fleeing force related to rotation of the Earth. So, when the Earth rotates, it creates a force called pole fleeing force. It has a bulge. The Earth has a bulge at the equator. This bulge is due to the rotation of the Earth. So whatever the bulge we see at the center of the around the equator of the Earth is due to the rotation of the Earth. And due to that rotation of the Earth, a force generates that is called polar fleeing force. And the second force suggested by Wegener is tidal force. What is tidal force? It is the force of attraction which arises due to the attraction of the moon and the sun that develop tides in oceanic waters. Wegener believed that these forces would become effective when applied over many million years. We know comparatively to other forces, the effect of these forces are minimal. But when these forces are applied for millions or millions of years, this could become effective. And this is what the explanation that Wegener has given to explain the forces for drifting. So if we see what he mentioned, one is pole fleeing force and the second one is tidal force that are responsible for drifting of the continents. But later, after it is interesting to note that for continental drift, most of the evidence was collected from continental areas in the form of distribution of flora and fauna or deposits like tillite. A number of discoveries during the post-World War II period added new information to the geological literature, particularly the information collected from ocean floor mapping. If we see the conventional continental drift theory, most of the evidences were related to tillites, placer deposits, jigsaw fitting, but a new information is being added right now to support to identify the processes. That is ocean floor mapping provided new dimensions for the study of distribution of oceans and continents. In that, the first theory is conventional current theory. It was given by Arthur Holmes in 1930s. So who has given continental drift theory? It was given by Alfred Wegener in 1912. But in 1930s, Arthur Holmes has come up with convectional current theory. The theory discussed the possibility of convection currents operating in the mantle portion. As we know, the interior of the Earth, the mantle comes after the crust, which is a semi-solid. So due to the motion in the mantle, it creates convection currents. These currents are generated due to radioactive elements causing thermal differences in the mantle portion. Holmes argued that there exists a system of such currents in the entire mantle portion. This was an attempt to provide an explanation to the issue of force, on the basis of which contemporary scientists discarded the continental drift theory. So, due to this new information about the ocean floor mapping and the Arthur Holmes debating convection current theory has made scientists to discard the continental drift theory. And the next one is mapping of ocean floor. In mapping of ocean floor, detailed research of the ocean configuration revealed that the ocean floor is not just a vast plain, but it is full of relief.